God, what do you want and how did you get here?
Good morning, Master Bradley. My name is Master Charlie Churchill. I am pleased to meet you and I would be most obliged if we could be friends.
How do you know my name? How come you suddenly appeared in my room from nowhere?
Don't be afraid, Master Bradley Mandinho. I mean you no harm, I will not hurt you, I just want to be thy friend.
Why do you look so wet? You are literally dripping of water. Also, why did you come into the house in your swimming costume?
Sir Bradley, I will answer all of your questions only if you promise to keep me a secret.
What?
Thou art the youngest lad in this castle, and thou art around the same number of years as I was when the tragedy happened.
What tragedy are you talking about? Also, why do you speak different?
I am sorry, sire, let me share me tale with thee. However, it is important that thou promiseth that thou tellest not another soul about me. Thou art the chosen one, sire, hence, only thou canst see me. I plead with thee to promise to keep my existence a secret and I will be thy friend and play with thee in this castle.
I am afraid. I don't think that I should be keeping secrets from Mum, Nana, Dad, Brij and my siblings.
So, thou hast decided to abandon me the way my parents did long ago. I brought board games and toys for us to play with, but if thou canst be me friend then I would be obliged to leave with all me toys.
Please don't cry, Master Charlie. I am not so cold-hearted that I can't sympathize with you. Those are very nice toys. Did you bring all of them for us to play with?
Yes. Does thou promise to keep my existence a secret, sire?
Yes. Tell me your story already so that we can start playing.
A few centuries ago, I used to live in this castle and these were my chambers. My folks built that large swimming pool that thou and thy family swim in on weekends.
Centuries ago. So, this means that you are over 100 years old.
Yes, sire, I lived happily here with me large family, but alas, one Sunday night when I was left alone with the slaves and servants, I accidentally drowned in the pool. My body lay there unnoticed for days. No one knew where I was until the sheriff's dogs traced me body hidden under the debris in the swimming pool.
What? I am very sorry to hear that.
My life was cut short, hence, my spirit hath been wandering around this property looking for a friend. All these years, no one has been able to see me but thee.
You have a really sad story. I am really sorry about everything.
Will you be my friend? We can play on most days whenever you are alone.
Yes, sire. Why not?
What a sad turn of event. While Nana and Brij's daughter was caught in a 7-year spiritual warfare, their youngest child, Bradley, spent a large part of his childhood playing with Charlie the ghost. Also, Eric was already deep into occultic things and each member of Brij's family was under one form of spiritual attack or another. In young Bradley's case, the evil spirit came to deceive Bradley in the form of a ghost. The spirit made up a tale to gain Bradley's sympathy and lured him with toys and deceived him into thinking they were friends. Why? We may never know the real reason why Charlie was sent to Bradley. Perhaps it was to draw him closer to darkness and separate him from his family. Bradley recalls spending several days a week playing with Charlie. While people may have thought that he was playing with an imaginary friend, Bradley could actually see and talk to Charlie. Krista was forced to spend a lot of time with Bradley, that is to watch over him and ensure that he was fed. It so happened that from a very young age, Bradley would get very violent and start beating Krista with any steel or heavy wooden objects that had nails stuck to them whenever Krista refused to give in to his demands. Krista got used to the beatings, abuse and wounds caused by Bradley. She couldn't do anything about it because everyone said she should quit complaining about a little toddler or little boy beating her up. The violence went on for years, and Krista would run away or try to avoid Bradley as she was afraid that if she fought back, she might harm Bradley, who was much younger than her. Krista did not know that Charlie and other evil spirits were behind Bradley's behavior. Remember that we are not fighting flesh and blood but spiritual wickedness in high places. It is sad to note that, once again, Nana and Brij had no idea what was going on with one of their kids. Charlie played with Bradley for years and each time, he appeared wearing the same wet clothes. How did this relationship affect Bradley? What was the end goal? Again, we don't have all the answers. All we can do is tell you the kind of struggles that Bradley grew up with. By God's grace, he overcame by the blood of the Lamb. Before we elaborate further on this, we would like to emphasize that one of the enemy's biggest ways to catch people unaware is through deception. Remember how the serpent deceived Eve in the Garden of Eden. The enemy has been deceiving people since the time of Eve, and be alert so that he doesn't deceive you. We encourage you to pray against any and all forms of deception. Ask the Lord to guard your heart, and the hearts of your loved ones, from all manner of evil, lies and deceit. Know God's Word, read the Bible, have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ, and seek His guidance daily. Pray against all manner of deception in Jesus' name. Basically, besides being very violent during his formative years, Bradley kept to himself, and he was uncommonly obsessed with doing his own things instead of doing his homework or focusing on his studies. In his teens, he was known to spend days without bathing so much that he grew huge pimples all over his face, and would wear the same smelly and dirty clothes over and over again despite having access to running hot water and clean clothes. In addition, he grew up afraid of strangers to the extent that he feared looking for any type of work. Later, he was used to influence Nana to sell the family home and squander all of the money, leaving them almost homeless. Also, the spirit of deception was upon him as he managed to deceive many young women and use them. The spirit of lust and other generational curses did not spare him, however. Once he fully accepted the Lord Jesus Christ, the Lord helped him to break free from bondage. To God be the glory now and forevermore. In adulthood, after his deliverance, Bradley became a very successful businessman, family man, and a highly gifted man who has gained international recognition. He also runs a ministry. To God be the glory. Ephesians 6:11-13 KJV says, "Put on the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day, and having done all, to stand." And Luke 10:19-20 says, "Behold, I give unto you power to tread on serpents and scorpions, and over all the power of the enemy, and nothing shall by any means hurt you. Notwithstanding in this rejoice not, that the spirits are subject unto you, but rather rejoice, because your names are written in heaven." So, in your opinion, do you think ghosts exist? Or are they merely demons? Well, we don't have all the answers. However, all we can do is to quote verses from the Bible and ask you to draw your own conclusions. Ecclesiastes 9:5-6 says, "For the living know that they shall die, but the dead know not anything, neither have they any more a reward. For the memory of them is forgotten. Also their love, and their hatred, and their envy, is now perished. Neither have they any more a portion forever in anything that is done under the sun." Note that Ecclesiastes 9 says that the dead know not anything, neither have they any more a reward. Also their love, and their hatred, and their envy, is now perished. Neither have they any more a portion forever in anything that is done under the sun. Therefore, this means that Charlie the ghost knows nothing, all of his love, hatred and pain have perished, and he has no portion under anything done under the sun. It is possible that a real person named Charlie Churchill lived in Brij mansion or yard centuries ago. However, the spirit that approached Bradley was not a real Charlie spirit but a deception. It was most likely an evil spirit disguised as Charlie Churchill. Do not be deceived. Do not listen to the lies of the enemy, do not entertain evil, and avoid people who want your relationship with them or the things they do to you to remain hidden, or who only want to meet with you in secret. Pray over everything, and seek wisdom and guidance from the Lord. Lastly, do not be afraid of them, for greater is he who is in us than him who is in the world. John 10:10 says, "The thief cometh not, but for to steal, and to kill, and to destroy. I am come that they might have life, and that they might have it more abundantly." Psalm 111:10 says, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, a good understanding have all they that do his commandments, his praise endureth forever." Deuteronomy 11:16 says, "Take heed to yourselves, that your heart be not deceived, and ye turn aside, and serve other gods, and worship them." And Revelation 21:7-8 says, "He that overcometh shall inherit all things, and I will be his God, and he shall be my son." But the fearful, and unbelieving, and the abominable, and murderers, and whoremongers, and sorcerers, and idolaters, and all liars, shall have their part in the lake which burneth with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. Deuteronomy 31:6 says, Be strong and of a good courage, fear not, nor be afraid of them, for the Lord thy God, he it is that doth go with thee. He will not fail thee, nor forsake thee. Isaiah 59:19 says, So shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. 1 John 4:4 says, Ye are of God, little children, and have overcome them, because greater is he that is in you, than he that is in the world. Exodus 14:14 says, The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. And lastly, 2 Timothy 1:7 says, For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, and of love, and of a sound mind.
Sister Franziska, I am happy to see you. Are you now off duty? If so, we could both take a ride back home together since we live on the same street.
Hi Whitney, I'd be happy to get a lift home. It's been a long day at the hospital. How is work and how is your family doing?
Work is fine, but it is not easy to be a hospital clerical assistant. I am always on my feet all day.
I know dear. As a nurse, my job keeps me on my feet all day too. I cannot wait to get home and take a warm bath.
I wish I was like Nana, our cousin brother's wife, who stays at home on our street. Living in a mansion, for that matter, her husband brings in all the money plus they get money from their tenants. Whereas in my case, my husband is a head teacher, he does not make a lot of money, and we have 10 mouths to feed.
Do not compare yourself with others, or be envious of them. Learn to be content with what you have and work towards growing and improving your life. Walk your journey. Focus on your path. Pray for wisdom and guidance.
Life really isn't fair. Nana and Brij have a total of 12 bedrooms and 7 bathrooms on their estate, whereas we only have a 2-bedroomed house on our piece of land and our sons sleep in the lounge. My husband and I work really hard to make ends meet. Also, our cousin Brij doesn't drink alcohol, whereas my husband is a confirmed alcoholic. Life is not fair.
Stop complaining Whitney, you must be thankful for what you have and try to make the most of it. What about me? I am the breadwinner in our home. My husband lost his job years ago and we have 4 grown-up kids that are still living at home and bringing our grandchildren to live with us. We hardly have enough money to feed.
This is our fate, but it's not fair that an uneducated person like Nana was blessed with such a large estate, beauty, rich husband, and beautiful and intelligent children. What is it, Franziska? You keep looking around, yet it's just the 2 of us in the lift.
Well, I heard that Brij brought a son from an old relationship into Nana's home, but later it turned out that the boy wasn't his son.
Seriously?
Count all blessings. At least, we never married men who already had kids from previous relationships. Plus, we had all of our kids in our matrimonial homes, unlike Nana, who had her first child with another man outside marriage.
How sure are these women that their husbands never had kids before marriage? Also, who knows how many times these women got rid of pregnancies just to keep up with appearances? Only God knows the truth. Do not judge others or try to feel good about yourself by bringing others down. Avoid gossip at all costs. We are not saying that you should keep quiet when hurt or that you shouldn't seek counseling, but we advise you to avoid envy, jealousy, and sheer spitefulness.
Busy acting all high and mighty, yet she has to live with things like this. At least the Lord kept our husbands for us because they never had kids with other women and we never had kids with other men.
The all high and mighty Nana. Ha ha ha.
I wonder what will become of Nana if Brother Brij dies. The woman has never seen the need to work, nor has she been allowed to work. All she does is to focus on the kids, cook, bake and look pretty.
I'd rather take care of myself and be an independent woman who makes her own money, no matter how small, anytime. Nana cannot continue to depend on her husband, she can't even do the monthly budget. Trust me, my sister, when I say that the way Brij has stopped his wife from standing on her own 2 feet, the way he forced her to be totally dependent on him will not end well.
It's true, however. Brij may leave Nana a large inheritance that will take care of her throughout her life.
My sister, it doesn't matter how much money a person receives or wins. If they've never worked for anything or they don't know how to invest or budget, then they'll most likely lose everything in a matter of months.
Yes, like those people who blow up, in a matter of months, the millions they inherit or win in lotteries. Most of the people waste their money partying, giving it away, sleeping around, buying expensive cars, buying expensive designer clothes, eating out, and sleeping at expensive hotels. I don't think that Nana would do such a thing.
Maybe not, but do you mean to tell me that she'll start learning how to budget once Brij is gone? Also, she'll most likely want to catch a rich widower, hence, she'll have to spend a lot of money buying expensive clothes and stuff to try and attract a man of Brij's status.
True.
All I know is that she will not survive on her own, as she has not been equipped to do so. We're better off struggling to make ends meet on our own.
It is true that we should all try to be as independent as possible. Husbands should empower their wives and children in such a way that they can survive on their own, and are in a position to work for themselves or to continue family businesses whether or not the head of the family is there. Otherwise, everything will fall apart the day the head of the family dies or is incapacitated.
At least when I reach retirement age, I will know how to cut costs and budget, unlike Nana, who doesn't even know how much a pint of milk costs.
Serves her right. All that glitters is not gold. Who does she think she is to be living in a mansion on a large estate? It's plain to see that she married an old man for his money.
Have you heard the latest news? Have you heard about how the mighty have fallen?
What latest news? Who has fallen?
Apparently, our cousin brother, Brij, was involved in a huge scandal at work that got him fired. The company took back their company car, and I think that he'll lose his large estate soon because he still owes money on the mortgage. However, Brij told a few close relatives that he was forced to go on early retirement. What nonsense.
Serves them right. They can't be better than almost everyone in the entire city. Those two uneducated people, these are the best news ever. I can't wait to share the news with my husband and kids. You are aware that I am training my kids, who are around the same age as Nana's kids, to compete and grow up to be better and more successful than Nana and Brij's kids. This misfortune that has befallen Nana and Brij will work in our favor. I will have to visit Nana and Brij this weekend to confirm these news. These news are awesome.
We just listened to what Brij's two wicked, jealous and envious cousin sisters have to say about Nana and Brij. We should listen to what people like this have to say so that we can correct them if the Lord directs us to, but we shouldn't believe them, or take their words to heart. Pray for the grace to stand firm and to truly believe what God says about you. Be so confident in who you are as a child of God, and trust God so much that people's words and their opinions of you don't hurt you. You can only be unbreakable if you put your trust in God and ask Him to give you the strength to overcome every negative force and every negative thought. Also, pray for the spirit of discernment so that you can know the true contents of people's hearts despite how they pretend to love you, pretend to be good, or pretend to sympathize with you. Ask the Lord to give you the strength not to be moved by the good or bad things that people say about you. Instead, remain and stand firm in your trust and faith in God. Do not give anyone the power to hurt you or to make you doubt your position in Christ. Believe that you're who God says you are no matter what. Isn't it ironic that some of your biggest haters and worst enemies are members of your own family? They are closest to you and often the most envious and dangerous. Dangerous in the sense that they can play mind games with you, pretend to genuinely love you and your kids, yet they have ulterior motives, are trying to grab as much as they can from you, and are secretly rejoicing in your downfall, or plotting your downfall. Pray against such people and avoid them. If you listen to the report of men, you will fail. Listen to what God says, believe His word as it is written in the Holy Bible, declare God's promises over your life, listen to what the Lord is telling you to do, and be led by His Holy Spirit. Do not allow anyone's words or actions to hurt you, learn to leave it all for God. Do not allow yourself to remain offended, hurt or angry for long. Do not let the sun go down on your wrath. Be quick to forgive, knowing that you have also been forgiven, and need to be forgiven, by the Lord. 1 Peter 5, 6-11 says, Humble yourselves therefore under the mighty hand of God, that he may exalt you in due time, casting all your care upon him, for he careth for you. Be sober, be vigilant. Because your adversary the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour, whom resist steadfast in the faith, knowing that the same afflictions are accomplished in your brethren that are in the world. But the God of all grace, who hath called us unto his eternal glory by Christ Jesus, after that ye have suffered a while, make you perfect, establish, strengthen, settle you. To him be glory and dominion forever and ever. Amen. John 16:33 says, These things I have spoken unto you, that in me ye might have peace. In the world ye shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. Philippians 4:4 and 6-7 KJV says, Rejoice in the Lord always, and again I say, rejoice. Be careful for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving let your requests be made known unto God. And the peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. Deuteronomy 31:6 says, Be strong and of a good courage, fear not, nor be afraid of them, for the Lord thy God, he it is that doth go with thee. He will not fail thee, nor forsake thee. Romans 8:28 says, And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose. Jeremiah 29:11 says, For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace, and not of evil, to give you an expected end. And lastly, Proverbs 3:5-6 says, Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct.
Anna, could you all please give me some time alone?
Don't allow the depression to creep in, Brij. You're bigger than that.
It's easy for you to say. You don't know what it's like to have worked for over 40 years of your life and wake up one day without a job or steady income.
At least, we are still getting money from the tenants and your pension. Also, you have great plans for the early retirement package.
No, I think it's best I pay off my mortgage and buy the cheapest luxury car that I can get.
You know that I will support all of your plans, however, don't buy a used car that will cost you a lot of money to maintain it.
Nana, once I pay off the mortgage and buy the car, we won't have much to live on. We will have to let go of all of the staff, find a way to pay off the loans I took to build and renovate tenants' houses. Up until I have a successful business or I start making money somehow, I think Matthew should start contributing every month to cover our household expenses. Although Matthew failed at school, he still managed to find a job selling motorcar spares, plus he was able to buy 2 taxis. As my eldest son, I allowed him to move into Unit 3 so that he has a lot more freedom. However, I think he should start paying his rent or at least contribute money to cover our monthly bills.
I agree with you, Brij. I hope he will understand our situation. You're aware that since he started working, he only gave you his first salary. After that, we've never seen a cent from him.
I have never expected him to contribute anything. In fact, I gave him back his salary after advising him to save and after showing him how to budget. I have never wanted him to pay any bills. However, he must sympathize with me or else he'll have to find another place to stay.
I can only hope for the best.
I have always been there for my beloved sons. I made sure they lacked nothing. I took them to the best schools that I could afford. I never laid my hands on them except when they failed at school, and I have always defended them and done what I thought was best for them.
On the other hand, you told me never to spare the rod on Graca. I have flogged that girl even for small things at your instruction. We've both done her wrong. We brought her up in fear. We were afraid that she would turn out like me or her aunties who all had kids outside wedlock and some during their teens. She works like a slave in this house and is treated differently.
Why have you turned our discussion to be about Graca? She is not one of us and she never will be, because girls grow up and leave the house. They belong to their husband's house.
I wish I never given birth to a girl child. Today, she avoids us like the plague and doesn't see us as her parents.
I don't care. As far as I am concerned, daughters are a liability. That's the same reason why I got 2 of my sons to deny impregnating those girls. Why should those families try to tie my sons down with unwanted pregnancies?
It's not fair, Brij, because those girls are other people's daughters, plus you are teaching your sons to run away from their responsibilities. In addition, you were aware that that girl was one of Matthew's lovers.
That's enough, woman.
For as long as I can remember, you've always allowed your unmarried cousins and brothers to bring different girlfriends to sleep over at our house, plus you allow Matthew to bring different girls every other day to his apartment. What do you think you are teaching the rest of our children by doing that?
I don't have time for all this, woman. I have more pressing issues to think about.
We have one set of rules for Graca and different rules for the boys. You encourage your sons to do things to other people's daughters that you don't want to be done to your daughter. Are you aware that it is the Lord who is keeping Graca away from mischief and fornication? It is her love for God that has kept her, because if someone truly loves Jesus, they obey him.
Enough. I don't want Graca to disgrace us, hence, I have been very strict with her. Also, if my daughter is very beautiful, well educated and is still a virgin, then I will charge a lot of money for her bride price.
What?
I will make sure that my son-in-law repays me for every cent that I spent on her upbringing. As it is, I have received several marriage proposals for Graca, but I will not give away her hand in marriage until she completes her first degree and I find a worthy suitor for her. She is an investment.
What?
By the way, last night, my friend Walter proposed an alliance between us. He would like Graca to marry his son.
Did you accept the alliance?
Of course not. I am waiting for Graca to pass her Cambridge advanced levels and get a scholarship to study at the top university in the land. Once she is well educated and financially stable, I will be able to choose the best husband for her. Graca was the first child in my lineage to pass her Cambridge ordinary levels and the first to do her Cambridge advanced levels. I am certain that I will live well in my old age once I get her a worthy suitor. However, if she fails to get to the university and my financial situation is bad, then I will have no choice but to marry her off to Walter's son.
What if Graca does not love the man you choose for her, or she doesn't want to get married?
I will try to convince her. If that fails, then I will have no choice but to force her to get married to the man of my choice.
No, Brij. Your sister, Whitney, is here to see you. It seems she could not wait to confirm that you are now unemployed.
It is well. I will go and see her. I can't live in hiding. If there is anything that this predicament has taught me, it is the fact that people's true colors come out during your most difficult moments. It is only during times like these when you get to know who your real friends and family are.
It is well. This too shall pass.
How will it pass? Soon the money will run out and we can't survive on rentals. We may have to downsize and use the rest of the money after we sell this property to buy a large farm so that we can make money from farming projects.
Downsizing. This will give the gossipers a lot more to gossip about.
Let me quickly freshen up and then go downstairs to meet my two-faced cousin. It is well. At least, I now know her true colors and I have heard all of the rumors she has been spreading.
When people show you their true colors, believe them. Psalm 37:23-25 says, "The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord, and he delighteth in his way. Though he fall, he shall not be utterly cast down, for the Lord upholdeth him with his hand. I have been young, and now am old, yet have I not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread." And Psalm 5:8-12 says, "Lead me, O Lord, in thy righteousness because of mine enemies. Make thy way straight before my face. For there is no faithfulness in their mouth. Their inward part is very wickedness. Their throat is an open sepulchre. They flatter with their tongue. Destroy thou them, O God. Let them fall by their own counsels. Cast them out in the multitude of their transgressions. For they have rebelled against thee. But let all those that put their trust in thee rejoice. Let them ever shout for joy, because thou defendest them. Let them also that love thy name be joyful in thee. For thou, Lord, wilt bless the righteous. With favor wilt thou compass him as with
Oh, my brother Brij, I heard the sad news.
It's true. I lost my job and I was forced to go on early retirement.
I hope you are still going to live with us on this street. I mean, we hope that you will not lose the house.
No, this morning I paid off the mortgage. However, I am planning to start a business and perhaps sell this place to enable me to buy a farm.
You want to buy a farm, that is, you want to move to a place that is even bigger than this.
Yes, for as long as there is strength in me. Is everything all right, Sister Whitney?
Yes, I forgot to mention that I baked some queen cakes, muffins and a cheesecake especially for you.
Thank you, my sister. That was very thoughtful of you.
When I got to your garage, I almost went back home because I didn't see your car, so I thought that you were not at home.
You're aware that I was using a company car, so the company took back their car as I couldn't afford to buy it from them.
So, this means that you no longer have a car.
My new car will be delivered later today. I bought a BMW from a friend of mine who sells imported cars.
So, you've paid off the mortgage and have bought yourself a BMW car. It seems that you got a good package. So, will your pension and the money you get from your rentals be enough for you to pay bills and send the kids to school?
It is sufficient. I will be starting a business where I sell artwork, Rolex watches and gold coins. I will be working on my own and as an independent sales agent for a large distributor. The position is commission-based, so we will see how that goes.
What? We thought you were doomed.
Now, I think I have given you enough to go and gossip about, so I think you better leave.
Sorry, I didn't get what you just said, Brother Brij.
I was asking how your husband is doing and how his drinking addiction is going.
There is fire on the mountain. I just remembered that I have to be somewhere, hence, I think I better leave.
It's people like Whitney who came to mock Brij that made life even more unbearable for Brij and his family. The fear of being found sitting in your own house during working hours was a constant fear that Brij, and later Grissa, had. Several family members would visit Brij's house regularly just to confirm that he had indeed lost his job. Most of the extended family members rejoiced at Brij's downfall and encouraged him to sell his property out of envy. Often when the Lord wants to bless you, he sends people, and also, when the devil wants to destroy you, he also sends people. Don't allow anyone or anything to steal your peace and joy. Surrender all to Jesus and watch him turn your situation around for good. Sometimes we tend to value material things and material comforts so much that we place them above obeying the Lord, or following him to the great destiny that he has prepared for us. Remember that growth can only take place outside your comfort zone. If Brij were to lose all of his earthly possessions in order for him to gain eternal life, so what? Remember that God is more concerned with our eternal life than he is with our comforts here on earth. When someone is going through trials and tribulations, instead of sarcasm, gossiping, or mocking them, why don't we try to empathize with them and come up with a solution? For example, contribute funds to help them get out of any challenging situations. Meet them at their house for prayers. Give them a shoulder to cry on, or find ways to make a positive difference in their lives. Pray about it and help. As you help others, the Lord will raise up people who will lift you up and help you during your times of need. Later.
Mama, I failed my Cambridge advanced levels. My dreams of entering the university have all been shattered.
At this stage in her life, Grissa did not know that life and death were in the power of the tongue. Fortunately, for her, she learned to speak positively about herself and her future as she grew older. The Lord opened her eyes to scriptural truths. Also, Grissa and her parents were all blind to the fact that there were hundreds of great universities out there where Grissa could do her undergraduate studies without advanced levels. Her grade passes at ordinary levels were sufficient to get her into some of the best universities in the world. God knew that, and he also knew how he would get her there and bless her with several first-class degrees. If only they knew. Great is thy faithfulness, O Lord.
For 2 years, you weren't allowed to do any housework because you were studying. Now look at it. Your father says that you were playing instead of studying these last 2 years, and that is why you failed. I brought some bags for you to pack your clothes in. Your dad has kicked you out of the house for failing your Cambridge advanced levels. From today onwards, you will no longer be sleeping upstairs. Instead, you will be accommodated in the unused laundry room, which is outside the kitchen. When my older brothers failed at school, all they got were beatings, but I have failed for the first time in my life and I am being kicked out of the house. It is well. You are not to be seen anywhere in this house except when you come in to clean the house and cook. From today onwards, you will be treated as our maid, but we will not be paying you anything. The fact that we feed and accommodate you should be enough. Only God knows what I have been going through spiritually. I can't even tell you the extent of the attacks because none of you can help me or understand. Only Jesus can help me. If I were to explain everything to you, then Dad would visit more shrines and wizards, and that would worsen my situation. I will no longer get into fights with your father because of you. Now, quickly pack your things and get out of my house now. We put all of our hopes in you, we even paid pounds to get you a good education, and this is how you repay us. Get out of my house. Also, you're no longer allowed to use any of the bathrooms and toilets in the main house. Instead, you are to bath in the large granite sink that is outside the laundry room, and you will use the toilet that is in the boys' quarters. So Mother, you want me to bath outside in the open under the sun and walk a long distance alone at night just to use the toilet? Just get out of my house. Also, your dad has decided to marry you off to Walter's son, so you better start preparing for marriage. In the meantime, get out of my sight.
What a sad turn of events. Nana and Brij put all of their trust in Grissa instead of putting their trust in God. Nana and Brij saw Grissa as their ticket out of financial woes, and they were very harsh with her when she failed. However, it never occurred to them to ask why Grissa, who was a straight-A student, a person who was always in the top 3 at school, and who won awards for excellence in school, failed her A levels. The idols, gods of the land, and all of the evil that Thambeni brought to Brij's house, plus various kinds of evil spirits, were attacking that innocent girl simply because she refused to worship them and because the Lord had set her aside for his work. It's too much for an adult to go through what Grissa went through for 7 years, and it's more traumatic for such things to happen to a teenager. Let's watch out for the next episode of Nana and Brij, Breaking Free from Bondage, to find out what happens next. Thank you for watching this episode of Nana and Brij, Breaking Free from Bondage. Please subscribe to our channel so that you get notified each time we upload a new video. We would like to leave you with the following verses to ponder on. Deuteronomy 31 verse 6 says, "Be strong and of a good courage, fear not, nor be afraid of them, for the Lord thy God, he it is that doth go with thee. He will not fail thee, nor forsake thee." Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the thoughts that I think toward you, saith the Lord, thoughts of peace, and not of evil, to give you an expected end." Matthew 6:33 says, "But seek ye first the kingdom of God, and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you." Proverbs 3:5-6 says, "Trust in the Lord with all thine heart, and lean not unto thine own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths." John 4:4 says, "Ye are of God, little children, and have overcome them, because greater is he that is in you, than he that is in the world." Exodus 14:14 says, "The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace." 2 Timothy 1:7 says, "For God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, and of love, and of a sound mind." John 16:33 says, "These things I have spoken unto you, that in me ye might have peace. In the world ye shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world." Remain blessed.